Jeff, here we are, buddy. This is
not
for
working.
A great podcast.
Well, I figured
the audio version, especially.
I figured that we could just do this telepathically, but I mean, they don't even do that in the Psychor headquarters, so we might as well talk as well.
Yes, well, I've got some stuff to say about that. But
I would have loved, I gotta say, I would have loved if the whole episode was just a bunch.
You know what? That feels like that would have been like an episode of Buffy at some point. Like
totally
joke episode of Buffy that they did.
Well, they did one close to that. It's classic. It's got Doug Jones in it. It's called Hush.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a legitimately kind of scary episode, but like there's a whole section where no one can speak, essentially. Kind of, but
they just have to act.
Uh-huh. And they do a great job. It's a great episode.
That's funny. Well, with that, hey guys, welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time. Jeff and I are here recording season 5 episode. This is 13, Jeff.
Yeah. We're all the way over the hill.
The corpse is mother. The corpse is father.
Yep.
Yes. No.
That's what you say, right? It's corpse.
Corpse.
This whole time.
Yeah. Okay. The corp is mother. The corp is father.
I thought that was Corpus Christi.
Okay.
Or is that Texas?
All right. Let's try 2 silent letters then. The core is mother. The core is father. That sounds right.
That seems ridiculous. Why would we have a word like that in English?
I still like corpse. The corpse is mother and the corpse is father. That just sounds morbid. Anyway, Jeff and I are recording an audio podcast, and you guys get to watch the behind the scenes of how we do that. This is the unedited version, which means you guys get the full Monty, the full deal. This, Jeff, is how the psychic thought is transmitted. It's how the telekinesis is kinesed. It's how the pain is given. Pain!
You know what? This whole episode literally just dropped a rank for me because they didn't do a pain drop.
Oh, we're going to discuss that. We are going to discuss that. Hey, while you guys are here, please like, subscribe, share this video, comment down below. Please remember, no spoilers. We're so close to the end. Let's keep it spoiler free. Jeff, if you're ready, let's go.
At least I should have buffed him just once.
Humans form communities.
And from that diversity comes a strength.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy!
The year is 2024.
The name of the podcast, Babylon 5.
For the first time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I am the one who was.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I am the one who will be.
And we're watching Babylon 5 for the very first time for you, the one who is.
Jeff and I are 2 veteran Star Trek podcasters searching for the important messages. We're taking that thing we do in Star Trek, we're applying it to Babylon 5, looking for the important messages that Babylon 5 is trying to deliver in its own unique way.
Very clear emphasis on Babylon 5 messages, right? Not a Star Trek podcast, not Star Trek messages. We are even going to go so far to make sure you understand that we're going to limit the amount of Star Trek references we can even make during this episode. We do that by playing the rule of 3, a game that limits us to no more than 3 references to Star Trek per episode.
That's it. 3. 1, 2, 3. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And if we make those references,
you're going to hear this.
Yeah, because we are not a Star Trek podcast. Jeff, we say this every week. It's literally in the title of our show.
And to this day, we get reviews that say, is the Star Trek just a Star Trek podcast? It's like, read the thing.
You guys are stuck in Star Trek. I'm like, this is not a Star Trek podcast.
Listen to the first 28 seconds of the episode.
Every
tell
episode. You. Jeff, this is episode 105 for us. God. That's when you count the season recaps and all that sort of the wrap-up shows and stuff. This is episode 105. We've said it for 105 episodes.
They say repetition is the key to acceptance. So,
we'll get there
pretty soon. 8, 9 more episodes. We'll get it. We'll get it.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, you know what? Along with our game, The Rule of Three, there is another game that we like to play at the end of the show where we try to guess what's up next. Jeff, you know something that makes me laugh, and we've certainly seen no shortage of it here in season 5, given how down we've been on season 5. When things are going good in this show, people say, like, we get reviews all the time. My favorite part of the show is where you try to guess what next week's show is, and you're either amazingly accurate or you're hilariously wrong. Like, that's good. When the shows have kind of been a little iffy, kind of like they hear, and we're like, yeah, I don't really know. The comments we get are, you should stop doing the predictions and just let the show be what it is, and just have no expectations.
Right. Just let it be. Just let it be, man.
Right. Anyway, we will never listen to that second one because part of our whole thing here is to make that prediction. We do that at the end of the show. We take a look at the title only for the next week and just play a game where we try to guess what the show is going to be about. Well, this is the spot. This is the game where we call
time to pay the piper.
And this is where we revisit that prediction from last week and see just how right or wrong we were. Jeff, what did you think TCIM TCIF was all about?
This one was a roller coaster ride for me. I'll tell you
roller
what.
Coaster ride?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it was a roller coaster ride for me because my prediction ultimately was that the whole episode was going to be from the point of view of Bester showing a day in the life of a guy doing Psi Cop stuff. Whoa,
dude.
And then the other part of the roller coaster where I was like, nope, this is going to be focused on Garibaldi coming after him. Mm-hmm. He's going to come and he's going to get his revenge. He's throwing back the afterburner whiskey to get rid of that neural block. So yeah, that's what I thought this was going to be.
I'm giving you 51% credit because you got the point of view, like nailed it. What actually happened in the episode had nothing to do with that, but from the point of view, and I'm going to give you just a slight bit over halfway. So you got mostly correct.
Yeah. Literally when it was happening, I'm just like, oh my God, this is happening. I can't believe it.
Right.
What did you think this was going to be?
Well, I too thought it was going to be Bester. I said Bester was going to come to Babylon 5 and he was going to be taking up Byron's flag of trying to get all the telepaths their own homeworld. But then I really liked what you said. So I sort of tagged onto that and said, it's going to be from the viewpoint of Psychor, but it's going to be like a news channel coming in, kind of like a Now for a Word or an Illusions of Truth, kind of a documentary. And that didn't happen at all. So
yeah, I'm going to give you a solid 33.3.
That is generous.
It is, but I mean, really, honestly, getting it from the Psychor perspective, it's a pretty big thing. It's a pretty big thing to grab.
I said Bester.
And you did say Bester. Yeah.
Bester. Yeah. Well, Jeff, for the folks at home who maybe haven't seen this episode in a really long time and didn't watch it before coming to listen to us, or maybe like us, they're brand new to the show, but they never actually stopped to watch this episode before listening to us, in which case, welcome to the show. Jeff, why don't you tell everybody at home what this episode was actually about?
We'll get comfy, because here we go. It's a day in the life of our good, dear friend, Alfred Bester. He's working with some new interns, P12s, that are excited to be working with their hero. But their beautiful day gets interrupted when a Psi Cop is found, killed, and the suspected killer, Jonathan Harris, heads out on the lam. Bester takes this hard. One of the core family's been killed and was killed by his student. And if that weren't enough, this guy was also being trained to be a mind shredder. He can confuse and disrupt other telepaths and rip apart the minds of mundanes. One of the interns is especially into Bester, and she makes a solid go at spending the night with him. But his heart still belongs to his teepsicle, Carolyn Sanderson. It's refreshing to see a dude so loyal to his mistress. And no surprise to you or me, this Harris guy has gone to Babylon 5. He's gambling, trying to raise funds to take off and hide from Psychor forever. He's doing pretty well for himself and might have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for him killing all of those people. But the question becomes, was it him? Did he actually kill these people? See, Bester and the intern find these weird notes of his, all in different handwriting, using different names. A little more sleuthing, and they find that Mr. Harris has multiple personalities. And fascinatingly, these personalities have different P ratings. They eventually chase him down, along with a normal named Bryce that's been helping him out with the reluctant help of Zach and Babylon 5 security, because it turns out that sometimes killing people on the station is frowned upon. Sometimes. Bester and the intern load him up to take him to the hidden Psychor mothership in hyperspace. But along the way, the intern takes an important, pivotal step towards becoming a Psi Cop. She spaces the mundane dude out into hyperspace. Bester notes the occasion. It's the first normal she's taken out, and he is so proud. Brent, did this one shred your mind, or was it, maybe, a little more mundane?
You know what I think just shredded my mind, Jeff?
What's that?
Was how short that recap was.
I don't think I missed anything.
It was all there, buddy. It was all there. Jeff, I'm going to sort of steal a speech from a fella named Ken Ray. Do you know who Ken Ray is, Jeff?
I know Ken Ray, Mission Log.
Yeah, he was on Mission Log before Norm got there. Shout out to Norm, who listens to the show. He's a big fan. Hello,
good
Norm.
Friend. Good dear friend, Norman Lau.
Norm is amazing. He really is. He's so cool. But Ken, I remember when they got to the end of Next Generation, and they're going through the last handful of episodes of season 7 in Next Generation. And I remember Ken being incredibly miffed, saying something to this effect, and I'm now going to apply this to Babylon 5.
Okay.
We have 9 hours left with this crew. 9 stories. That's it. And at this point, every single one of these stories is making me wonder, why this episode? Why this one right now? How is this going to connect? How is this going to point us towards the end? What is this going to do for us? After watching this episode, Jeff, I have no idea what this one is doing. I have no idea how this connects. I can't see it. This feels like a one-off episode that would have been fantastic back in season 2. See, maybe even, I mean, God, this would have been like one of the best episodes of season 1 if it was on in season 1, you know, explaining who Psychor is, showing us this whole piece of Psychor, right? Maybe even a season 3. I think by the time it's season 4, season 5, we're just a little late on this episode. What is this episode telling us about Psychor that we need to know, like, right now? So I have to ask the question, as a first-time watcher, I don't know what's coming up, right? Is the Telepath War truly over? Or is this setting us up for something else? Honestly, what we got with Byron, I was thinking about this, like the thing we got with Byron and that whole deal is not something that felt so significant and so earth-shattering that it should echo through centuries later, like we saw in Deconstruction of a Falling Star or something like that.
There you go.
So in this episode, to me, this whole episode can be summed up in this phrase. This was neat. I liked this episode. Don't get me wrong. This was an enjoyable 45 minutes. But why? And I can't see it right now. I hope I see it within the next 9 episodes, because every second is precious at this point to me. And I need to know, I can't just have this be a one-off episode anymore. And I'm almost scared that that's what it's going to be. You know, like what is this setting us up for with Bester in the next coming episodes? Right? How about you, Jeff? What were your overall impressions of this episode?
Well, I feel like I need to disclose to everyone that, like, I write out my opening thoughts. You know, if you go onto our Patreon, you can see that it's in my notes. Like, I write them, and oftentimes I read them. Oftentimes I'll just kind of just go off of them. I want to specifically read my opening thoughts right now because I don't want anyone to think that we compared notes ahead of time. Okay. I honestly really enjoyed this episode of television. is a look into Psychor and the Psycops. It was really cool. We talked about it last week, how the show isn't afraid to tweak with its format, and this worked really well. I'm glad the only regulars that we saw were Franklin and Zach. Those are people that anybody walking onto the station could realistically run into. Didn't feel forced or anything. But I also can't help feeling, so what? Okay, we know a little more about telepaths and their culture, but is this context that's really going to hit and add to the next 9 episodes?
Right.
This felt like a bonus episode. It was fun. It was enjoyable. But at this point in the season and the series, can they really afford to take a detour like this? Like it's been a long time since I've made a Wheel of Time reference, but this is Robert Jordan, literally, and I'm not exaggerating, taking 40 pages to describe the tree that sits next to a door. Like
40 pages to describe a tree?
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. It's an incredible scene. Like his imagery he's an incredible author, but it's like, move on, dude. Tell the story. You have a massive, 14 book story you're trying to tell here. Just tell the story. Maybe make it 8 books.
I mean, I got pissed off at what's it, Nathaniel Hawthorne for spending an entire chapter describing a door at the beginning. I think it was Scarlet Letter. It might have been the House of Seven Gables, but I think it might have been Scarlet Letter. But he spent the whole first chapter just describing a door. And I'm sitting there like, because back in the day, in his time, as a writer, you got paid per word.
Oh,
they just fluffed their words.
Yeah,
I don't think Robert Jordan has that same excuse for 40 pages on a tree.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's so much. It's beautiful. It's great. Just like this episode. And I think you said this, and it bears repeating. I liked this. I enjoyed this episode, but I don't know. It's just like, really?
Yeah.
Like we're at Z9, Z-9 at this point. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Where are we going with this? And that is the question. And here's the thing, JMS has conditioned us at this point to expect the long running arc. Now we know that even within the long running arc, there are a couple of one-off episodes, maybe several one-off episodes here and there throughout the series. In each season, they just exist. But overall, they still connect. And sometimes you get a world building, and sometimes you at Z-9, that's not time for world building.
No.
I get he had to he shut the whole production down and then had to ramp it back up. But what are we doing? And I hope, I'm holding my breath, Jeff. I'm holding on to hope that this is gonna pay off in a handful of episodes, because I don't see it right now. And I mean, because I have to guess it's Bester. Bester's got to be. Is he the big bad of the end of the season here? We know
he's got to be the crux. He's got to be like the focal point of something with this at this point,
right? Because what's still unresolved, the whole thing with Garibaldi that you said, that's still very unresolved. His whole thing with his girlfriend, they mentioned Carol, I think was her name.
Carolyn Sanderson.
Carol, yeah. He referenced her. I don't think he called her by name, but he referenced her in this episode. We didn't get any of our main cast on Babylon 5 except for Zach and Dr. Franklin. Some things. Why are we just now learning that telepaths have multiple personalities, and those multiple personalities can have different psi ratings? That's a neat thing to know.
It is. That's deep world building stuff. Like to your point, season 1, season 2 world building stuff. Now I think there are 3 things that came out of this episode that could have a payoff. There's all the Bester stuff. I think right now they have just went all in on Bester's going to be the dude. He's a hero among the Psycops. This is it. So Bester's going to be our guy on the Telepath War thing. Lita's going to work in there somehow, or whatever. So we got that. I think introducing the concept of the Mind Shredder.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
dude. Imagine this right up next to within a season, a season's breadth of the Jason Ironheart episode.
Exactly.
You got him, and then you got Mind Shredder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whoa, because we know from early on, Psychor was working trying to breed and get higher telepaths, and now we're going to turn them into Mind Shredders.
Yeah.
But you know who make the best villains are the people who are the heroes of their own story. Bester and Psychor are the heroes of you watch this episode and you go, these guys are normal. These guys are good. I understand where these guys coming from. That's season 2, season 3. You know,
back.
like it just, and I hate to keep going back and referencing that, because you know what, this is a season 5 episode. This is where we are. The placement is what the placement is.
I'll tell you, the third thing though, I think is what puts it in the 5th season. And that was when they were doing the whole scan block counter scan exercise, and interns were watching it. When Nikki, I forget her name, I think, but she was Nikki in 90210. When Nikki's watching them do the exercise, the way they did the graphic, did that ring any bells for you?
I wasn't paying. No. Yes, I was paying attention, but no. What do you think?
So dude doing the scan had it was a total shadow thing. It was dark. It had tentacles that was going. And then other dude who was blocking had this ice thing around him. And in
Vorlon's did.
Exactly.
No, did he really?
So it was a total shadow versus Vorlon, tentacle versus ice battle going on.
Wow.
So I think what this is meant, Bester #1, Mind Shredder's introduced, and they're using shadow stuff and maybe even Vorlon stuff to augment their Psychops at this point. So they're kind of creating these super Psi soldiers to move into the telepath. That's my guess on this. It also could have just been, hey, here's a cool graphic we have.
I don't think they went down that path, but you know what that could serve as? This episode could serve as a backdoor pilot for a Babylon 5 spinoff.
Right. Yeah.
It just never happened. I mean, that would be, we're going to follow what Psychor is doing. We're going to catch this. It's going to be the anti-heroes and stuff. I didn't catch that girl's name. I didn't catch her character name. I did 100% catch her partner's character's name.
Yeah, this was pretty on the nose.
Hikaru Sulu.
With Bester right there.
Right? That's just fun to me.
And I'm not going to buzz you because the show made the reference.
Yeah. That's the show's reference, not me at all. Yeah. Absolutely. But also, speaking of names, Jeff, here comes Bester. He's just walking through and his boss is doing whatever. And I have to wonder if Al Bester just walks around playing this song. I just got to wonder, he's Al. He's just Al.
Just Al.
What's up, Al? What's up, Al?
You just got us blocked on YouTube.
No, that was less than 10 seconds. That was less than 10 seconds. I will refute that in every single way.
And it's a total fair use. We're using it to comment on this. It's the definition.
1,000%. It is transformative in its work.
Did you notice what they did in the opening credits?
I did not watch the opening credits. I hit the skip intro. What happened in the opening credits, Jeff?
So they used the Psychor logo instead of the Babylon 5 logo. Then it came it comes out Babylon 5 and then all the people, they used the Psychor, the Psi. And then
really
at the end of the credits where they have what I think is ridiculous graffiti on the back of the station with JMS's name, they replaced that with the Babylon 5 symbol there. So they tweaked the logos around a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of that now. Okay. Here's the first buzz, Jeff, because these aren't individual buzzes. These are team buzzes now. Here's the first buzz. Kind of like in Enterprise when they did the Mirror Universe and they redid the entire opening intro for the Mirror Universe group.
And those were
cool. I should go back and watch that. That's
yeah.
That's neat.
It was pretty fun. I caught it, especially on my second watch. I was like,
yes, because now, Jeff, just for the sake of the people who watch your videos, I'm going to beg with you and plead with you. While this one case it paid off for you, for the most part, use the skip intro button, buddy.
I usually do. I started doing that some time to time, but I also like to have people know. If they know, they know. I like to have fun with the intro.
Jeff, listen, if you guys don't know what Jeff's talking about when he says having fun with the intro, you need to go check it out on Patreon. I'm not going to say what it is.
Me either.
Because you got to go check it out. So,
I have a good time with it.
Okay, so I think we've been pretty clear about our general thoughts on this episode, that this episode doesn't make any sense, and why is it happening right here? Why is it there? That being said, let's dispense with that conversation. Let's talk about things we learned within this episode. Some things that came out that actually are really neat to know. I think this is more checking boxes off right now. P12s have to be able to block a deep scan for an hour, because the longest deep scan can go is 45 minutes before their brain explodes.
Yeah.
Okay, I love this idea, even maybe, Jeff, from a leadership or a management standpoint, of because as a tech guy, one of the things that I do into all of the systems that I go in and build is I build in redundancy. If I get hired for a gig and they say we need 10 microphones, I'm bringing 13. Because I know something's going to happen. I need extra redundancy. If I need to record something, I'm recording it in 2 places. Like I built, so the idea that they only have to actually clear 45 minutes, but we're going to make you do it for an extra 15 just in case.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's the old saying, what is it? 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
There you go.
If like with recordings, like you and I both, we have this and we record it here locally just in case. Yep. So if anything ever happens, we don't have to come in and try and pretend that we're doing this again, because we have 2. So we're good. But if we only have 1 and that 1 fails, we have nothing.
I think we actually have 3, because you record yours, I record mine, and then our software here records this one. So we have 3 if something really goes wrong. Jeff, here's a question for you. How close of attention do you pay to those expiration dates on the jugs of milk in the grocery store?
Pretty close attention.
Okay. How far past that date do you allow that milk to stay in your fridge?
3 days.
And then it's done no matter what?
Yeah.
Like, even if you open it up, sniff it, give it a taste, and it's fine, you still 3 days and you're done?
Yeah, because if I sniff it and it's past the date, my mind is going to tell me it smells bad.
Interesting. Because those dates are what we so eloquently say down here in the South. They're CYA dates for the grocery store. That's a cover your because they can't sell spoiled. No, you don't. You got to back it up. Did you know when you go to Disney World, Jeff? Here's a little behind the scenes for you. When you go to Disney World, they got a time posted. Here's your wait time. That wait time is between 5 and 10 minutes longer than what they're actually anticipating you to wait.
So it's always a pleasant surprise.
It's supposed to be. That's the idea. Now, I have certainly been in line at Disney World, and it winds up being longer than the posted wait time. That has happened more than one occasion. But for the most part, and honestly, there have been times, and I see this at Universal too, where the time is almost in half, because they'll use the wait time to deter people from coming onto the attraction.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I noted that not every P12 becomes a Psi Cop. I felt like that's what we'd been taught through this, but they actually have to pass the training. Go through an internship program, pass the training. I'm kind of curious what happens to the ones that don't pass the training.
Well, they leave Psychor and commit suicide however many percentages of the time.
42.5% of the time.
There it is. Would have been better if it was 47% of the time.
Much better.
Oh, dang. That's
it's a good one, though. That was well spent.
That was a good one. All right. Here's the thing. Here's my question when I saw that. Do those people commit suicide because of the drugs they now have to be on because they left the Corps? Or is it the implication is they're committing suicide because life is so awful outside of the Corps. But is it more like an Ivanova's mom type situation?
I think it's worse than that, because like the impression I got is it wasn't necessarily like Ivanova's mom. It wasn't people who refused to join the Corps. These are people who were Corps, and these are blips, people who've run away. And the guy even said, I used to be a blip, and now I'm all kinds of better. Right. I think that what they do is when they go out, they send the Bloodhound gangs or the Psychops after them, and they end up killing the blip. They list it as a suicide.
Yeah.
Because they don't kill family, right? Your family, I'm not going to kill you, but sometimes family does this, and so we're going to sadly list it as that. The other, 56.5% or whatever, they come back. They come back. So either you come back or you're a suicide.
Bester had a line in this episode that made me go all the way back to Ship of Tears.
Okay.
In season 3. Was that the episode where we met his girlfriend?
Yes.
Where she was hooked up to the computer? Okay. What I remember from that episode is one of the things I remember from that episode is Bester was he was doing something, she called out his name and whatever, and like he almost got attacked. And his whole thing was, she had no reason to attack me. Why would she attack? What's going on with me? What? Of course she would attack you, but why would she attack me? Like, it was, even in the midst of all that, everything was about Bester. And what was the episode with him and Talia when the other telepaths were like coming after him?
Yeah, the Underground Railroad one.
That one, yeah. And he was like, he's like, oh, I'm safe. Oh, well, I'm sure Talia got out of here. They were really just after me. Like, it was all about Bester. Okay, preface that. Here is the line Bester says right at the beginning of this episode. I think it was right at the end of the cold open. He says, as much as it might offend their sense of personality, not everything is about Babylon 5. That's coming from Bester.
On the show titled Babylon 5.
Right. Right.
Like you said, he's the main character in his own story.
But everything's about Bester. Can I say something that's probably considered anathema?
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time, so go for it.
I think Walter Koenig's performance here was a little wooden in many places as Bester. And I don't know if that's his acting or if that's Bester as a character being portrayed.
I think it's Bester because he's always been a little wooden.
Yeah. But like, okay, admittedly, the only other role I've ever seen Walter Koenig in is Chekhov in Star Trek.
Has he done anything else?
I don't know. I'm sure he has. I don't know. He is not this wooden as Chekhov in Star Trek.
Well, because he never has to say anything. He's got 4 lines over the entire
All he has
franchise.
to do is keep up with the gun, right?
Right?
Where are the nuclear vessels? Okay, I think we've hit our 3 max, Jeff.
I was gonna let it fly at first, but
yeah. What?
Actually, okay, I'm pulling him up.
It's so hard when it's the guy. Like, he's the guy, and it's like the only other thing he's done, or at least that we know him for.
So I'm looking at his IMDb right now.
Yeah.
He's got 76. Oh my God, he's got 2 things coming up.
Wow.
Good for him. He's still working.
Yeah.
Star Trek this, Star Trek this, Star Trek. Oh, he did a lot of those like fan videos.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of those were pretty high quality, but he's in a lot of those.
Yeah.
Then things related to Star Trek. So like he's got the Futurama. Yeah.
It's basically, it's been this.
It's been Star Trek and Babylon 5.
It's really been this. Yeah.
And the real Ghostbusters.
What did he do in Real Ghostbusters?
He was Vladimir Pavel Maximov.
Of course, Pavel is in that name. Okay. Let's just talk about Bester. There's a few things about Bester I noted out of this episode. Okay. One, the couch in his quarters looks incredibly uncomfortable to be in his quarters.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
That couch looks like it belongs in the lobby of some office building somewhere. Not, I'm going to go home and relax. You know, in that scene where girls like throwing herself at him. Yeah. And like, dude, she is way too young for you, pal. Like,
right. That was a little creepy. That was a little good for him. By the way, good for him.
Yeah. How'd you think about the way Bester handled that?
Thought that was very gentle, especially when he said, and hey, there's no reason to feel bad because nothing happened.
Did he read her mind to think that, to realize that she was thinking something embarrassed and he headed that off?
So let's do this. There's nothing but Psychops here. Why are they talking? They literally in Mind War brought that up. Oh, you normals, you talk to each. That's right. That's
Right.
so inefficient.
Right.
I mean, I get it. It's a TV show. It'd be the same as us doing this podcast. Just actually the way we are. We're doing it telepathically. I've just been able to download our neural transmissions.
The voices are actually AI generated from our neural patterns, is what it is.
Yeah. So you're welcome. Yeah, it's kind of. I had to work kind of hard to make it happen.
Imagine watching the entire show just in subtitles. You know, that they had to put on. Yeah, listen, I think that's one of those things you just have to sit back and go, they really couldn't have done the episode any other way if that was.
God, I'm feeling the fact we just hit our 3 references because like it's just like, yeah, I'm not even gonna go because it'd be perfect.
Fair enough. See, guys, this is the difference between Jeff and Brent. Jeff is a rule follower.
I am.
Brent is not always.
But no, I don't know that he did. I think that was social grace that Bester had. I also think it was a lot of narcissism and hubris where he's like, of course you're hitting on me. Now, I didn't acquiesce to your seductions, so literally nothing happened here.
Right.
Don't tell anyone anything happened here because it did not.
Yeah.
Mount Bester is not everybody gets to ride Space Mountain, baby. Woo!
Especially with the lights on. Okay, so let's fast forward to the end of the episode. They're in the shuttle. They've got the 2 dudes behind them, and dude and chick are sitting in the front seats, and she's like, I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna give you a massage, and I'm gonna do this. And finally she's like, Can I? And he's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna let you like do it. And she takes off that belt buckle. Jeff, I swear she was about to do something to him that was not safe for work. Like, you cannot put this on network TV. She spaced the mundane. That's what she actually did. But I 1,000% thought, like, that's
also, can we talk about the fact that literally spacing a human being in the throes of hyperspace is more socially acceptable on network TV than road? Like, really?
Yeah.
Or would they call it hyper? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
That was dark though. That was dark.
And he looks at her, and what's he say? He's like, "Oh, there's hope for you after all, or maybe you belong in Psychor after all." Like,
it's like, wow, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it, kid, or something.
Yeah.
But I was thinking also that whole time, like, you have a mind shredder sitting behind you, and you're trusting a sedative. That's pretty gutsy.
So Captain Psi guy puts Bester on the case. Why? Because the victim was a student of his, and he thought Bester would like to see a little vengeance. And I wrote down, shouldn't that be a reason to not put him on the case? Like, because now it's personal. It's not your job. Like,
yeah. They had to remind us that Psychor is evil.
Yes. And I get it, guys. Listen, save your keystrokes out there. I understand that they don't play by the same rules in the future that we play by now. I get it. But that's not rules now versus rules then. That's just good management.
It's ethics is what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to talk about something that we've never talked about before on this show. And I swear, Jeff, if you tell me that we have talked about this before, I'm going to reach through the computer and punch you in the face. This is not a Zaha Doom thing all over again. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, keep your fist up there, because that's what I want to talk about. Bester's hand. My question is there something wrong with Walter Koenig's hand, or is this Bester? Because it was incredibly obvious in this episode that he was not using that one hand. I think it was his left hand, and everything was in his right hand. And he was awkwardly doing stuff, and he kept the glove on his hand the entire time. And his hand was clenched like a fist the entire time. Now, that being said, over the course of the 5 seasons we've been watching this show, Jeff, whenever we've seen Bester and he's come on, there's always been somebody in the comments who go, "Did you notice his hand?
Yep.
Did you notice it?" And yes, I kind of noticed, but in this episode, it was so glaringly obvious that I have to talk about it. What is the deal with the hand in this show with Bester?
So we've never talked about this because I've seen the same thing in the comments. You're right, every single time.
Yeah.
And we've gotten the story from multiple people, but to this point, I never really noticed. It didn't.
Like I noticed, but it wasn't like anything that really just jumped off the screen to me now. Is this an actor's choice, or is there something wrong with the actor's hand?
So I think, from what I understand, if the community is correct, I think they are, because multiple people have said this multiple times. It's an acting choice. Walter Koenig made the choice to do this. But what I'm guessing, because I felt like they really shined a light on it in this episode. Yeah. I mean, especially the scene where, God, was it when he was with the intern? I forget what, but he didn't have a glove on his right hand, but his left hand was gloved and he was kind of like cradling it a little bit. And that's like, it really stood out. What I wonder is if like they're shining a light on the Achilles heel, right? There is a story behind it. It's a thing Lita or Delenn or somebody else is going to get wind of, and that's how Bester's going to go down in the big fight.
It's probably something that, like, there's a Babylon 5 novel out there that gives you the origin story of the hand.
Well, there is. I know there's a Psychor trilogy.
Not. Is there really?
No, I don't know if it's about the hand, but I know that there's a novel. It's considered canon, is my understanding. There's a Psychor trilogy. I have no idea what it's about outside of its Psychor. Maybe it is the story of Bester's hand.
Also, it was just about his hands.
Well, if Robert Jordan was writing it, could be 3 books about somebody's hand.
Okay, that's all I really had. Oh, here's one thing about Bester that is interesting. It is interesting that Bester does sometimes honor protocol. For as much as Bester just bowls through stuff and is like, I'm awesome and I'm going to do whatever I want. There was one spot where they were on Babylon 5 and he says to the intern, he goes, "What protocol is that we got to get Babylon 5 security to open this door for us, and there's one down the hall, so I'm going to go get him." Like,
I loved that moment.
When does he follow protocol? Go ahead, Jeff. Talk.
Well, he always does. Like, this goes back to my whole thing of like, the bad guys here are Sheridan and Ivanova and Garibaldi, who never gave Dude a chance because he came on looking for Jason Ironheart in the beginning and they immediately decided they hated him. He followed the rules. He checked in. He called security when he needed to. He stayed in contact. Bester follows the rules. He might make glib comments about it. He might do it in a way, but he does. He's just doing his job and doing it the way that he's supposed to do it.
So, observation about Psychor. Things are very family with Psychor. And Bester's talked about this a bit throughout his time on the show over the course of the series, but we really saw behind the scenes, like the impetus. Like this is where I really, really wish we would have gotten this episode back in season 2 and really got a good look at how Psychor operates and would have been able to understand. Like, I really would have appreciated understanding Bester back then the way that I now understand him after watching this episode.
It would have added color to Talia and all the stuff she went through with her arranged husband and all this stuff. Understanding this whole culture. Yeah, totally.
But everything was family. This is a family issue. We keep this in the family. No, we're not going to involve the outside folks. This is us. We take care of ourselves. This is us. Now, that could lead a bit into perhaps I don't know what your messages are for later in the episode, but this episode really highlights, and particularly that last scene we talked about a few minutes ago where she spaced the guy, this us versus them mentality that Psychor maintains. Is there's us and then there's all the mundanes, and it's us and then them, and that's how you keep wedges drawn between people when you draw these us versus them lines based particularly on stuff you can't control, so
Yeah. Do you buy Bester's story that he gave to the intern that his parents were killed when he was a month old and was brought into the Corps at that point and literally raised in the Corps?
I do, because I'm going to throw something out that I don't know if you're going to agree with this or not, Jeff.
Okay.
You know how the Minbari always talk about the fact that they don't lie, but they absolutely do,
Mm-hmm.
like all the time. I don't think Bester really lies that often. I think when Bester comes in and Bester speaks, he speaks truth. Now it may be pointed, it may be lacking details, there may be omissions, but I don't know that Bester truly ever, and somebody's typing right now saying, "Oh no, in this episode this is," but I don't know that Bester ever truly outright lies. So, like, because what was the one? Oh, when we found out that they dissected Talia. And the question that a lot of people in the comments were saying was, did they really dissect Talia, or did he just throw that out there knowing that it would make everybody be very emotional and make them easier to scan? And I was kind of like, both.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one or the other. Like, I think it's he did it knowing what it would do, but he also did it because it's the truth.
I just had a thought with the whole Talia thing, the dissection in her other personality.
Uh-huh.
Multiple personalities,
Yep.
different P levels. This is a very rare thing. I don't have a fully baked idea in my head, but it makes me wonder about Talia and how she had this whole other personality. Yeah. Was it stronger than her? Not as strong as her? Did it lose the gifts that Jason Ironheart gave to her? Like, where did those things live, and what impact did the research, we'll say research they did on Talia, have on stuff like the mind shreddering stuff and anything coming out here? I wonder if that's part of the through line, is because we've touched on personality stuff all the way back to the Mars First guy who was a space zombie,
right?
And then Talia, and like this multiple personality or controlled personality thing is popping up a lot.
So here's an interesting thing. Since we're here and we'll talk about it now, let's trace that story thread, because one of the things you and I are understanding as we get closer is there are just some story threads that seemed really, really important at the time that have turned out not to be at all, completely dropped. When the show first began, we had Lita Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the pilot. We know that they wanted to bring back Lita Alexander, or they wanted to bring back Pat Tallman, but she was busy with something else. She couldn't come back. So they went and they cast Andrea, whatever her name was.
Right? Talia. We'll call her Talia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they gave the role to Talia. Something happened with Talia where she wanted to leave the show. And so they wrote her off the show. That's why she left. It wasn't hey, we're going to make her character better or anything like that. And they were able to turn around and get Lita to come back. Okay. Lita became the one who went out on the shadow ships or on the White Stars and did this whole psychic thing. So I've got to imagine that had Lita stayed the way that JMS had originally intended her to, she would have been the recipient of Ironheart's giftings, and those would have been the powers that she would have used to defeat the Shadows way later on. Like, I got to imagine that was plan A.
But instead, they plopped the Vorlons in for Lita.
No, what they did was they plopped Talia in and gave Talia Lita's power, planning on Talia being the one to go through to the Shadows. Like, she became plan B, but then she left the show. And, oh, hey, we got Lita back. So they came up with a different reason to give Lita extra powers. Well, now she's plopped in with the Vorlons because they couldn't use the Jason. And so the plan for that Jason Ironheart thread, I think, got short-circuited by Talia leaving the show.
Yeah.
And that thread, I think, was I'm guessing, I have no idea. Guys, I have not read Lurker's Guide. I haven't read JMS. I haven't watched all the interviews with JMS. This just makes all the sense in the world to me that that was the original plan. It got short-circuited when Pat Tallman couldn't come back. Trapdoor, no problem. We'll just give it to Talia. But then Talia left the show. Oh, crap. Well, now here's plan C, actually. But it made all that Jason Ironheart stuff just go away and not
Yeah.
really matter in the end scope. Although I
Yeah, that
think it
makes
was
sense.
supposed to. So, okay, hey, here's a question. What is on the hump of the back of the Pakmara? What is that? Do we know? I
Okay.
don't think I've ever noticed a hump on the back of the Pakmara, but I haven't watched them that closely. So
I don't know. To me, like that's almost my biggest question out of this whole episode. I have to know.
yeah, like what is that's not really a hump or something. I don't know.
You know what? We're never gonna find out. Like,
I hope we
if
don't. I hope we don't. I hope it's just one of those like ongoing.
if JMS is awesome, like if he is awesome, he's gonna bring this up at least one or two more times. Just like, yeah, because in their hump, nope. Like just tease us with it a little bit and never give it to us.
Yep. Okay, here's my last note that I have, Jeff, and whatever. We've already mentioned this just a little bit, but I just have to bring it up. The Mind Shredder. First of all, that sounds like a kick-ass band name.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're the Mind Shredders. You know?
I bet they exist. They might even be listening. If you are,
Yeah.
hit us in the comments.
So watching when we actually got to see what he did, made the dude's eyes bleed and his brain explode and all that sort of stuff, right? When we saw that. That was such a better way for a person with psychic ability to completely F up somebody than sitting there going, pain, pain, pain. Like, I was like, that's what you should be doing with your psychic people. That right there.
Push them to the edge. Yeah, my last note I have is just around, we learned that they have these motherships that just exist in hyperspace. They never leave. They're secret, and that's where they launch all of their missions out of. And I thought that was an interesting piece. My question, wouldn't all these blips that ran away, like Byron, who was a Psi Cop, wouldn't they know about these motherships? I'm sure we'll find out coming up soon.
Well, Jeff, with that right there, I think we've reached a part of the episode where it is time to do the Star Trek thing that we do, where we boil the whole episode down and we look at the messages, the morals, the meanings, the mirrors to society, the hope for a better future. What is Babylon 5 trying to tell us? What is JMS trying to tell us through the story of TCIM, TCIF? Jeff, it falls on you to have that discussion this week, and you're going to cap it off by rating this episode on a scale of 0 to 5 white stars as to how strong that message was and how much it was delivered in a Babylon 5 way.
Perspective is everything. The B5 people, a lot of viewers, a lot of people watching or listening to this right now see Bester as a villain. The Psi Cops, at least, the Psi Cops, maybe all of Psychor and maybe more, see him as a hero and a legend. There's a case made in this episode for compassion and empathy. We live in a world today where you either agree with me or you are wrong. Period. Full stop. No in between. And if you are wrong, you are often so wrong that you are automatically evil and you are the villain. Now, Bester's apparently been with the Corps since he was a month old. He's literally been programmed his entire life. He's been rewarded and reinforced to think and behave in a certain way. And the people around him all have similar stories. They have this big echo chamber, and in their bubble, they are truly doing what they believe is right. Now, this doesn't make what they're doing right. But if we look at them with empathy, if we look at them with compassion, instead of a binary, you don't agree with me or you do agree with me, good or evil lens, that compassion and empathy starts to change things a lot. Bester is the natural result of his trauma. Imagine if, instead of painting him as a villain and being jerks to him all the time, the people on Babylon 5 listened to him. engaged in conversation and dialogue. Maybe they even worked to acknowledge his trauma and show him a different perspective. Wow! But instead, they, like many of us, validate what they already believe and what they think. Psychops and Psychor are told that mundanes are simple and they hate telepaths. So what does Zach do? Zach goes out of his way to say that he hates telepaths. He validates that belief. We have people today that think this group of people is evil. They're wrong. And this other group, they think that that group is hateful. So what do? Well, we hate them back, or we assault them with messages telling them they are evil and wrong. Ultimately, we validate the awful things about us that they already think. It honestly kind of freaks me out to say this and put this out here, Brent, but generations of people validating the core's beliefs and fears has made a war with them inevitable. So who are we today in 2024, or whenever you're listening to this? Who are we going out of our way to make war with inevitable as well? Talk with the intent to listen, to hear, have compassion. Try to understand, not necessarily agree, but see and understand where the other person is coming from. Find a place to connect. You do that, and you can do what Delenn and Jakar say in our episode Open, right? You can build community. You can come together. You don't do those things. Well, my guess is the next few episodes of this series are going to show us what happens when you don't do those things. Now, all of that said, that was 99.9% me making stuff up that I saw in this episode and was inspired by and couldn't help but see. I don't think that was the intended message of this episode whatsoever. I'm going to give this one white star.
Stop.
Oh!
Stop. I want to stump and see if this doesn't help you, if you don't mind.
All right, do it.
You still get the final say in what it is, but I would like to throw something. I talked about the us versus them mentality. We have talked about us versus them on this show, even here in season 5, quite a bit. So I don't want to rehash all of that other than just to say the simple truth. When you take people's humanity away, when you build an us versus them mentality, it makes it easy to hate them. Okay. There was a moment in this episode where Bester is talking to the interns, and they talked about, well, why don't we help the mundanes, and why don't we do this? Why are we only going after ourselves? And he's talking about the mundanes. He's talking about the normals, you and me, Jeff. And he says, why should anyone value their lives when they just spend all the time killing each other? When they don't even value their own lives, why should we value their life? That's a great question. And what he says, that when you have a psychic person, you're part of the family. You're one of us, right? Just by virtue, there's nothing you did. By virtue of being psychic, of being a telepath, you're here. You're one of us. And when you don't want to be one of us, it's easy to sit back and say they'll get what they deserve when they go out there. He's like, but that person, by virtue of their telepathy, they're still special, Bester said. And it's never easy, but they're still part of our family. We should still go help them, even if they're getting what they deserve. And I sat back and I thought, that's the way it should be with humanity. Is even when that person doesn't want to act right, by virtue of their humanity, they're still a person. And we should still love them. We should still honor them. We should still respect them because of their humanity. And treat them with such dignity and respect. When people do stuff that they ought not do, and I'm thinking specifically people that commit crimes and get thrown in jail. And I know people, but oh, well, what if a person did this? Do you still listen? That's a whole different type of a conversation. All right, those are extreme examples. In general, We should love, honor, and respect people just on the basis of their humanity, not because of anything they did, just because of who they are. I thought it was a very clear, interesting message, and it's kind of like if Psychor is a microcosm of humanity as a whole, uh, that's what humanity should look like in a very weird way.
What I love about that is part of what we do when we rate these episodes for White Stars is this kind of ephemeral, did they do it in a Babylon 5 way?
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things that we've learned about Babylon 5 on this journey we've been on, 105 some odd episodes, 105 episodes, man.
Right.
But one of the things we've learned is Babylon 5 doesn't dress up a silver platter, put a bunch of ornamentation on there and hand you the message, right?
Mhm.
Babylon 5 expects you to do some work to get this out of it. And that's what you really demonstrated was it's easy on surface to look at everything you just described and be like, oh my gosh, Bester is horrible. What an awful person. The core perpetuates all these things, but the Babylon 5 delivery of this is flipping it around and looking at it in that bigger piece of, yeah, that's what they're doing. What if we all did that with this bigger signifier? You know, like what's one thing, like so many of the divisions that we have, as you've said a couple times this episode, are things outside of our control, or the way we are born, or the situation we are born into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a situation we're all born into in a way we're all born that's pretty darn common amongst all of us? We're all human.
Yep.
Bingo. Like, that's the thing. That was a good stump. I'm going to add 2 White Stars. I'm going to call this one a 3 White Star episode after that.
I don't know that I gone that high, but wow, cool.
Well, at first I was thinking 2, but then I was like, what a Babylon 5 way of doing that, like to really push it that far. So yeah, I'm going to give this one 3.
All right.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to stump on this next one. We're going to see what you do. But another thing that we do here on Babylon 5 for the first time is we have the unenviable task. I mean, it's a Herculean effort, seriously, that we have undertaken on behalf of all of you in the community. But for you, we are developing the absolute 100% definitive, objectively correct ranking of all the episodes in the 5th season of Babylon 5. For keeping score, our current top 5 has in the top spot The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari, No Compromises, and number 3 is Learning Curve. Our new number 4, The Ragged Edge. And rounding out the top 5, A View from the Gallery. Brent, where do you put TCIM TCIF? It's almost easier just to say the chorus mother, the chorus father.
It almost is easier. Here's the deal. You and I both said this statement. I enjoyed this episode. I don't understand it right here, but I liked the episode. So this one is going to immediately slot into the I liked it category, which the bottom, the top of that for us is A Tragedy of Telepaths. That's where we said, and that's our current number 7. That's where we said these shows are crap. Like, we're tired of these shows. The one that I have above that is Day of the Dead. Now, that's the one where Mordred came back to tell Laniri he's going to betray all the Rangers, and a bunch of other stuff happened. And we liked that episode.
Mm-hmm.
The one above that is A View from the Gallery. And that was the one with the 2 guys that we also liked. The question is where does this one fit to me then around Day of the Dead? Do we like this better than Day of the Dead, or do we like it a little bit less than Day of the Dead? And I want to take this really as an episode of television because I don't know where this is leading. And I can't judge this in the context of the entire season. I've got to judge it just as a 45-minute episode. I think I enjoyed this one more than I did Day of the Dead. But I liked the concept of Day of the Dead. That was a cool, we're going to buy a part of the station. These things are going to happen. Weird stuff's going to happen. We're going to meet our past folks. So to me, put these 2 episodes in a bag, shake the bag up, reach your hand in. I think you're going to come out with Day of the Dead first. But I mean, tagging on to it, hanging on to its heel is the chorus mother, the chorus father. So I'm slotting this in at our new number 7 spot. But I mean, I wouldn't fight you over it being number 6.
Well, this is the first time I'm going to hype our season 5 wrap up that we're going to do here in 10 weeks from now, because I think this one has the potential of being like the Geometry of Shadows of the second season. We're on its first view and we're like, I don't get it. Like, had some cool stuff. I don't understand. We might look back on this one and be like, oh, it's so brilliant. Oh my God, it set these things up. It was so great.
Right.
We don't know that yet. Well, Brent, that's it for The Core is Mother, The Core is Father. Next week, we're going to watch Meditations on the Abyss for the first time. This is the game, Brent, that you mentioned earlier in this episode that we love playing and that our listeners and viewers, our community, also has a really good time with. This is where we try to guess what the next episode is going to be based on the title alone. We don't look at thumbnails. We avoid descriptions or synopses or anything like that. So the next one is Meditations on the Abyss. What do you think that's going to be about, Brent?
All right, I'm going to have to talk this one out a little bit. You say the word abyss. You know what comes to my mind when I think of abyss? Monsters. That's what lives in the abyss. Meditation.
I was going to say liquid oxygen, but that might be too deep of a cut for some people.
Wow. Wow. No, I'm thinking, wow, I caught that reference. Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. I think monsters when I think of the abyss. And when I think of monsters in terms of Babylon 5, I'm thinking the Drakh. I'm thinking the minions of the shadows that we know are still lurking out there, that somewhere here in the next 9 hours, supposedly this is going to be a thing, because we believe they're the ones actually behind the shipping line stuff. That's been a big thing for the last bunch of episodes. So I think this one is going to be all where we really, like, we learn all about the Drakh and the minions, and we figure out all of that. Like, who are the bad guys that got left behind when the Shadows and Vorlons left? Like, we're going to finally really learn what all this is and what they're doing. That's what I think. How about you?
Well, I just want to say I like that too, because I think it'd be really easy to think of Zaha Doom as an abyss.
Yeah.
Right now, after it's been destroyed and flattened out. So yeah, it's meditating on what came from
Except
there.
it's been blowed up real good.
Yeah.
But still.
I'm stuck in the world of telepaths for this one. I think this is going to be the flip side. We got to see Bester, because I'll tell you what I see, like kind of the charting I see of the Telepath War. And considering there are 9 episodes left, I don't know how they're going to fit this and the Drakh stuff and everything in. I don't get it. But
yeah,
we're going to have Bester versus Lita, and then at some point everyone else. Yeah. Right. But I think there's going to be an initial reckoning.
So you think it's a Bester versus Lita? Because, okay, can we, I'm sorry, can we do this just for a second? We got 9 episodes left. Okay. Here are the threads that you and I are hanging on to right now. Garibaldi and Bester have a thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Lita is out there doing something with the telepaths right now. Presumably could be a Bester thing there. There's the Drakh and the little eyeball dudes. And Londo still has to become emperor. Does he wind up do we go down the path that we saw in the future with War Without in part 2?
I think so. I think that is the.
So we got to see, are we, well, that was 20 years in the future. So are we going to get some sort of like destruction of Centauri Prime and Londo becoming a minion, a slave to these guys? We got to see Jakar losing that eye with the sash over his eyeball again and getting grizzled. And now we know Jakar's a religious leader. So how does that whole thing fit in? And we've got it. And Veer is going to be emperor one day. I think that's going to be like the very end is what we're going to see with Veer. But like, so we've got this telepath thing still happening. There's the personal thing with Garibaldi. There's the thing with the Alliance, but there's also this whole piece with Londo and Jakar and the Drakh. Like, and we got 9 episodes left, Jeff. I think something's getting dropped.
I think so. I think it's got to, but I think the telepath thing is going to be wrapped up within 3 episodes. I think they're going to have to Minbari Civil War the whole thing, and we're going to get it tight, and that's going to include the Garibaldi Bester stuff. So I don't think it'll be 3 in a row. They're going to intercut some of the Centauri and the Jakar and the Drakh and minion stuff. But I think then we're going to get 3 of those. Mm-hmm. We're going to get 5 that pull in some of that other stuff, right? The stuff that leads to War Without End Part 2. And then the finale is going to be like an overarching, here's everything. So I think we've got 8 episodes to move the threads we have, and then that final episode to wrap the entire series.
That was already filmed at the end of last season.
Yeah. So, but all these threads were set up right in that season, so it can all play together. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but we're going to find out specifically about Meditations on the Abyss right here next week. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else that we happen to be where you could watch, give us a subscription. Also, leave us a rating, leave us a review, and please share this podcast with someone who either is already in love with Babylon 5 or is about to fall in love with this incredible series. So until next time.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, man, what's up?
So 105 episodes in,
Mm-hmm.
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
My name is not Brent.
Okay. Okay. What is it?
My name is Napoleon.
Sure. Why not? And I guess probably the next thing you're going to tell me that that God told you that, right?
Nah, dude, we left Ivanova back in season 4.
Man, get the hell out of here with that.
Initiating getting the hell out of here maneuver.
We're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
That's a good close. That's funny.
I like that one. Club 65, what's up? Jeff, I have to say, I was trying to figure out a way to work this in. I couldn't, but now we're in Club 65 and I'm going to work this in immediately right here. We keep calling him Bester, but don't you know that he told us? I'm just saying.
Chevy Chase's finest moment.
It really was. No. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is his finest moment.
Yeah.
Three Amigos was a great moment as well.
Three Amigos.
Dude, we owe people a Three Amigos viewing.
We do.
We promised that back in like season 2.
It's coming. You know what?
That one and Princess Bride.
Well, the Three Amigos one I think is critical to everything.
Right.
So I'll just say this because it is critical. So this stuff may or may not happen here, so I won't get specific, but Brent and I have been talking about trying to do something special for the movies. Maybe we wrap Three Amigos into that too.
Listen, if we're going all that route to do that, if that's going to work out, I don't know that it's going to. If that's going to work out, then we're going to shove everything we can into that.
Totally.
And make that work. That'd be neat. So, hey, Jeff, I know we both got to kind of get out of here a little bit early tonight. We've got a bunch of stuff. I don't have anything else left in my notes that I didn't really talk about.
This was one of my shortest notes ever that I had.
This turned into a normal length episode for us, but lots of chewing time in this episode, and Mind Shredder is just a kick-ass name. So
it's pretty cool.
All right, let's get out of here. Club 65, you guys are awesome. Please make sure you get your gear, and we will talk to you guys next time.
See you.